So first video of 2022, here we are, finally. Hi everybody, for those of you who are new here, my name is Zach. I'm a photographer and arts administrator based in Santa Barbara, California. And in this video, I'm responding to your comments. And before we get to the comments, there are just a couple of things that I want to touch on. The first is to say thank you for an incredible 2021. It was such a great year for my photography and video business, as well as this YouTube channel. I can't be more grateful for the incredible feedback and support and engagement that I've received through this channel, and it's been so rewarding to meet so many of you here on YouTube and also over on Instagram. In 2021, the channel was monetized and it grew to almost 8,000 subscribers. We haven't hit 8,000 yet, but we're almost there, which is just insane. You know, we started at about 1,000 people in 2021 and we ended up with a really sizable group of like-minded people interested in photography. And what I think is really cool about that is that through YouTube and through Instagram, we can sort of learn from each other, have conversations, pose questions and have them answered, and just be inspired to go and continue creating work. So all of that to say, thank you for following along in 2021, and I'm so excited about 2022. The second thing that I wanted to start with is just a bit of inspiration. So I like sharing with you photographers that I'm inspired by, and recently I've been really inspired by a photographer named James Jin. He's a dance photographer out of New York, and he recently worked with one of my friends, and I saw the images and I was just blown away. And so I just took a deep dive into his work, and I think it's amazing the way he captures dance and movement and performance. But more than that, what's interesting about his work is the process. And he actually has this process, which he calls the process. It's marketed to dancers. And what's really interesting is that he says it's about the interactions between him and the dancer in their time together in the shared space. It's about the process of making the photos. It's not about the photos themselves. Giving that kind of weight to the artistic process and removing the final end result completely out of the picture can be really transformative in our work. And it's definitely something that I want to continue thinking more about as I move forward in my own work in 2022. How can I continue to solidify my artistic process, and what impact will that have on my work? So just questions to ask ourselves. Are we focused enough on the process as we, continue on in our endeavors in photography or really any kind of art form? So if you have some time, check out James Jen Images on Instagram, get inspired, and go make great work. Okay, so let's dive into your comments and get a conversation going. Now, I always like to say before we start that I'm sorry if I don't get to your comments. I am specifically responding to subscriber comments. I really appreciate those of you who have subscribed to the channel. If I don't answer a question of yours, leave it in the comments. I always answer the comments here on the channel. So let's dive in. Christopher Barry says, awesome video. I'm with you. I own the 28-70. I think it's amazing. It's also the first lens I'll sell if and when a fast 20mm and 35mm pair of primes comes out. Cheers. Thank you so much for the comment, Christopher. Yeah, the 28-70 is an awesome lens. I know that a lot of you were curious to hear my thoughts about it, so I did rent that lens a while back and tested it, and it's an amazing lens. It's exactly what I thought it would be. It's a really well-built, really solid, expensive piece of gear that produces incredible images. And if that is something that can be useful to you in your work, amazing. It's an incredible lens. Now, the idea of a 20mm prime from Canon is interesting, and the RF 35mm L version, I think is what you're referring to, which I'm sure is coming. At least that's what I hear. That'll be an interesting lens to test. So yeah, totally, I'm with you there. Thanks so much for watching. Guy Pozzi says, I was between these two cameras, so seeing this video was exactly what I needed. Not that anybody cares, but I went with the X100V. I wanted a camera to just have fun, family trips, day to day. So I wanted not to have to think which lens to carry or whatnot. Totally. So this is in response to my X Pro 3 versus X100V video, and I totally care. I'm very interested. I don't know why, but I think it's cool that you chose the X100V. That's awesome. I love that little camera. I had it for a little bit to try out and I absolutely adored it. And I really want to get my hands on it again. I think eventually when I get back into the Fujifilm system, which I will, it will be with that series, the X100 series, for exactly the reasons that you described. It's just an amazing little camera to just have with you all the time and not even think about really. And it produces amazing results and it's just a joy to use. So I'm glad that you're enjoying it. And I hope to get one eventually if they ever get back in stock, and make more videos about it here on the channel. Thank you. Charlie Price says, awesome video, Zach. I've been putting off getting started for some time now, and dealing with clients and directing them was a big factor. I have been doing photography for years now, but just for myself. I want to make it a business, but just haven't tried. This really helped. Thanks. Thanks so much for the comment, Charlie. I appreciate it. This is in response to my video about the Unscripted app. So if you haven't seen that, the Unscripted app for photographers is this great resource for new photographers who are starting their business. Also, more seasoned photographers who are interested in trying new genres of photography. I was second shooting with a friend months ago, and she was using the Unscripted app, and I thought it was so helpful that I reached out to the folks at Unscripted about partnering, and they actually were game. And so we just created a sort of mutual cross promotion. I'm not being paid by them, but I did make a video about it just to tell you like what a great resource Unscripted is for photographers who are maybe, newer photographers, or like I said, just starting their business or venturing out into new genres. So if you're looking for that kind of resource, this can be a huge resource for you. So check out the video on Unscripted if you're curious. But I'm really glad that this is inspiring you to think more about your business, Charlie, and best of luck to you. Thank you for watching. Timothy Gordon says, you're going to love the way this lens renders. I can't put it down. I actually didn't think I'd like it. This is about the Canon RF 28-70. Yeah, kind of the same for me. I wasn't really sure that I would like that lens as much as I did like it. I really liked the results that came out of it, but for me, using the lens was just not very enjoyable, mostly because I don't like using zoom lens at those focal lengths. Like I'd prefer to use prime lenses in those focal lengths. So for me, it's not really something that makes sense, but I totally understand why, if you are someone who uses that kind of lens and can get a lot of use out of it, you're going to love it. We just need to decide for ourselves, is this the right lens for me? Do I have the budget for it? Does it make sense? All those kind of important questions. But yeah, thank you for watching. VSMO channel says, hi, I'm YULSHI, new subscriber. Hello from Philippines. Thank you, YULSHI, for subscribing. I'm so glad that you found the channel. Thanks for the comment. Wilhelm Rosenthal says, EF has more character. So this is in response to my 50mm RF versus EF comparison video. And I would have to agree, actually. I mean, I loved the RF 50mm 1.2. It's an incredible lens with a great character. I said this in the video. But for me, the EF just has something really special to it. They're very similar. You'll have to really make that decision for yourself. What needs do you have? But for me, I just love the EF lens. There's really nothing else like it for me in my experience. And I also like the size and the weight, how it balances on the camera. It's just a fantastic lens. So for me, I'm sticking with the EF version for the foreseeable future. It's just one of my favorite lenses of all time. So yeah, I agree. Dan Hacker says, as someone that never loved using a 70-200 before, I kept thinking about this lens as my big RF lens purchase. I want to upgrade my 85 1.4 to the RF version, but the versatility of the RF 70-200 2.8 is what I keep coming back to. Yeah, so the RF 70-200 2.8 is one of the best investments that I made in 2021. That lens is incredible. I love using that lens, and I've never liked using 70-200 lenses before. I said this in the video. It is sharp. It is speedy, fast autofocus. It is just incredible, and it produces a really beautiful look. I use it for both photo and video, and I've used it on loads of stage work in the past couple of months, and it's been just a game changer. And at least in my case, even as someone who prefers shooting primes, I totally agree with you that for the money that I'm putting into an RF lens, I think I'm getting the most out of that one. Because if I bought something like the 85 millimeter, I just feel like it might feel a little bit limiting to have so much of an investment in that one lens. But that's just a personal thought. It's not reflective of everyone's opinion. I mean, some of you might only use the 85 and make all of your work with that, and of course it would be worth it for you. But for me, I totally agree that as an investment in RF glass, the 70-200 2.8 was the one that made the most sense for me. So yeah, anyway, I agree. Thank you so much for watching. Traveling Sumanti says, where did you buy the Canon 1V? I'm in search for one. So I bought the Canon 1V. Anyone who doesn't know, it's a Canon film camera that actually uses EF mount lenses. So you can use your L series glass with it if you have EF mount lenses. But I bought the Canon 1V at KEH. They have a lot of used film cameras that you can buy there. Great source for that kind of stuff. Although I haven't really used the 1V very much and I've contemplated selling it. I don't shoot a lot of film. And when I do, I typically use my AE1 just because I prefer the process of using that camera and I like all the little imperfections that come out of using that camera. It's kind of older and might be a little bit damaged, I think, because sometimes the mechanics let in weird light leaks and things. I don't know, but I like the process of using that camera and the look of the frames that come out of it more than the 1V in my experience. Maybe I need to try the 1V more. I bought it thinking I would shoot more film, but I actually haven't. So it's just been sitting on my desk. So if you're still looking for one, message me. Maybe you could buy mine. Anybody else shoot with the 1V? What do you think? Should I make another video about it? I don't know. Let me know. Bjorn Bolander says, I couldn't agree more about the R6. I borrowed an R5 from a friend and performed gorgeously, but what I shot with it gobbled up so much storage space because those files are, for me, unnecessarily huge. I've been wowed by how much I love the R6 despite its smaller sensor. I always have to remind myself that in all of these years, I've never had a client complain about resolution. We photographers can get so obsessed over the newest gear and megapixel count, and while it's totally natural side effects of the consumer culture we are steeped in, we don't always need more. Thanks for the updates and wishing you well as you transition out of the relationship. All the best. Yeah, so lots in this comment. Thank you so much, Bjorn, for watching and for the comments. So yeah, I've said this a lot. I've made a lot of videos about the R6, but for me, the resolution has not been an issue. If you're someone who needs the high resolution of a camera like the R5, you're probably not considering the R6, and that's wise because it's not a high megapixel camera. Now, that being said, for most of us, like myself, I think we have this irrational fear of, oh my God, it's not going to be enough megapixels. But in the case of the R6, the sensor is absolutely beautiful and it's always been more than enough for me. I just love the look of it. So I'm totally with you there. The R6 for me is a game changer of a camera. I just love using it. And it's the camera that I go to for all of my work at this point, pretty much everything, both photo and video. So super happy with that camera. Mikkel Hoya Nurbi says, hi Zach, are you planning on releasing a preset pack or something alike? I found your content recently and I really like your aesthetic. Thank you so much for the kind words. So yes, I do want to release a preset pack, although I've been putting it off because it's just a lot of work and I know that I will want it to be the way I want it when I release it. Like I've bought so many presets from people that just don't work, that I pay money for and literally never use because they just don't work. I mean, I understand that presets, you apply them and you need to do some tweaking, but some are better than others. Some are easier to work with than others. Some just work and some don't. And so I want mine to be the kind that work. And that takes a lot of time and energy and effort. And I definitely want to do that. It's on the list for this year, but I just need the time and I just haven't had that in the recent months. So thank you for the interest. I've gotten a few questions about this and it's definitely something that is coming. I don't know when, but hopefully soon. So anyway, thank you for the comment. Mark Gillies says, great video. Really wanted to hear your insight on this lens. I have a love-hate relationship with the RF 28-70. The weight of the lens discourages me at times, but when I go out without it, I miss it too much. The versatility of the RF 28-70, the speed, the optical quality separates it from other lenses. Yeah, so we've talked about this a little bit already in this video, but again, you're totally right. Like, it is such a special lens. You have to maybe battle the weight and the size and the price a little bit if you're going to get this. But if it's the lens that is suited for you, you will not regret it and you will get used to the heft. So yeah, totally agree. Taylor Hunter says, love your approach and your videos as I work on shifting my relationship to my own photography. Thank you, Taylor, for watching and for the comment. I really like this comment, and I'm glad that the video is sort of helping you think about your relationship to photography. It's sort of what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. I love finding photographers' work and being inspired so much that I reevaluate my own relationship with my work, right? So as I was mentioning earlier with James Jen, the idea of the photographic process and working with the client, and how that attention and dedication to the process can have such an impact on the final work, which is something that's so obvious, but we don't always put as much emphasis on it as we probably should. So anyway, it's a big compliment to hear that, something from my video is making you think about that, because I think it's really valuable in our growth as artists, is to have these moments where we really take a look back and consider our work, where we are, and how we can move forward. I think that wraps it up for this video. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your comment. I know there've been a lot of them, and if I haven't answered a question, please leave it down in the comments. I do answer all the comments down below, so just put it down there. We can get a conversation going. If you're new here, I hope that you'll consider subscribing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Thank you, as always, for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Love is free.